Hello, welcome back to another video. Today I would like to go over books I've recently gotten, my six favorite books of this year, and also books I've just read and I want to review those. So let's begin with the books I have recently gotten. Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck is an American novel set in the Great Depression, and Steinbeck, I believe, was accused of being a communist due to this book. So it'll be interesting to read, and it is one of the great American novels. And I have read Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, which was an amazing book. So hopefully it is in the same vein. Gorgias by Plato is essential for Plato. It is where the theory of evil as a deprivation of good arises from and how to find true morality. So I do want to get into that because that heavily influenced St. Augustine. So that will be interesting to read. Stoner by John Williams is a book about a professor and essentially the course of his life. So that'll be interesting to read. And I have been wanting to read that book for a long time. All Desire is Desire for Being is by René Girard, who is a French-American philosopher and literary critic. It is a collection of essays from him going over his philosophy and his theory of mimetic desire, in which we desire things only because we see other people desire that same thing. So all desire is essentially imitation. And then Discourse on Metaphysics and Other Essays by Leibniz. I want to read this because I'm currently going through essentially all the major epistemological theories of the last 300 years. So it is essential to understand epistemology. The most important epistemological book, other than maybe Discourse on Method by Descartes, would be A Critique of Pure Reason by Immanuel Kant. That will be a beast to tackle. Immanuel Kant is apparently very hard, but hopefully I can get through that. This book I got on a whim yesterday. In Defense of Civilization, How Our Past Can Renew Our Present. It is written by a Canadian, so that'll be interesting. And the inside of the book's really nice. But it is, I believe, about how we can use past culture to renew our culture. He's saying that right now culture is in a sense of decay. About past culture, The Passion of the Western Mind is a history since from ancient Greek, Homeric age, to the modern age, about Western culture, philosophy, and just thought. So also scientific theories and that type of thing. And the last book I have recently gotten would be All Things Are Full of Gods by David Bentley Hart, who is a contemporary philosopher and theologian. And it is about essentially his theory of mind, and it is written in a dialogue format, so it'll be very interesting. He is an idealist, I believe, so it's in the same vein as Immanuel Kant, but I want to see how they differ, so that will be very interesting. Quick reviews on the books I've recently read. The Story of Philosophy by Will Durant. It's an amazing book. I'd rate it about a 9 out of 10. In it, he chooses about, I believe, 8 philosophers to focus in his main chapters, from Plato to Nietzsche, I believe, for the main philosophers. And then he has 2 chapters on contemporary philosophers of his time, but those aren't really that important compared to the main philosophers. And he gives biographies of the philosophers' lives, and then also he explained their philosophies. So Schopenhauer is included, Kant is included. The one thing that's annoying, he didn't include Descartes, which doesn't make any sense, or any scholastic philosopher. He just skipped straight from Aristotle to Francis Bacon. So that's over 1,000 to 2,000 years of philosophy, not 1,000 years philosophy uncovered, which I would say is a big gap in the book, but that's fine. So I'd rate about 8 or 9 out of 10. Boethius' Consolation of Philosophy. I just finished it. I wrote a Substack article about it. It's amazing. It's written in a dialogue format, so it's in the same vein as Plato. But the way that Boethius is able to articulate certain things about free will and about virtue is simply amazing. And I would ask everyone to read it. It's an amazing book. And I'm currently reading 10 Great Works of Philosophy, the Signet Classics, which includes Plato's Apology, Credo, and the Death of Socrates from Phaedo, Aristotle's Poetics, St. Anselm's Ontological Proof of God, Thomas Aquinas' 5 Ways of Proving God's Existence, René Descartes' Meditations on First Philosophy, An Inquiry into Human Understanding, Prolegomena to Any Future Metaphysics by Immanuel Kant, John Stuart Mill's Utilitarianism, and William James' The Will to Believe. I'm just starting, Meditations on First Philosophy by Descartes. And so far it's been really good. My favorite part has been Thomas Aquinas' 5 Ways of Proving the Existence of God. So yeah, those are books I've just recently read and what I am currently reading. Now I'd like to go over my 3 favorite fiction books I've read this year first. The first book I read this year to begin with, well, not the first like big book that I read this year was Dune. It was amazing. It's everything that it's hyped up to be. It's way better than movies, and it's much more philosophical than you'd think. So yeah, Dune, I'd advise everyone to read it. It's very well written. The world building is amazing. The characters are amazing, and it's just a very good book. And I can't wait to read Children of Dune. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was also an amazing book. I read it during the Halloween season, so I had the atmosphere for it. But yeah, it's a very well written book. I don't know, the psychological themes in it are very good about the monster. The ending's very good. I like the framing device within the book. It's just very poetically written. Another book that is also very poetically written would be The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. It is a very good book. It's probably the first classic that I think I read, other than Animal Farm or anything in school. So yeah, The Picture of Dorian Gray, it's a very well written book. It's very poetic, and it has very good aphorisms within it. And even though the plot is semi-predictable, it still is a very well-written book, and the ending is also amazing. Now, this may be recency bias, but for my top 3 philosophy or just non-fiction books that I've read this year, I put Boethius' Consolation in the 3rd place. It's a very well-written book between the dialogue and the poems in each chapter, and the way it is formatted and the way that he's framed the book in the sense of Lady Philosophy talking to him while he was in jail, because he actually was in jail. He died after he wrote this book. It's very amazing. And the concepts of free will in which he discusses, I don't think he gives completely satisfactory answers to me personally, but it is still very well written. I respect what he tried to do with it. His conception of divine simplicity I disagree with too, but his virtue theory essentially in the book and his metaphysics of order are also very good and crucial, I believe. Now, my second favorite philosophy book this year would be The Great Dialogues of Plato. Plato is required for any proper understanding of philosophy. There's a very famous quote in which it says, all of Western philosophy is just footnotes to Plato. And this is partially true, because if you really look at every single aspect of philosophy, Plato touched on, and he set the groundwork for everything moving forward. So just crucially understand Plato before you go to any other philosopher. And I really like The Republic. I read, and I just went through the whole Republic in 3 days. It was very amazing, and it was very well written. So yeah, it was a very good book. And now my favorite book that I read this year would be St. Augustine's City of God. Amazing book, and it touches on almost every aspect of theology, philosophy, and apologetics. It was St. Augustine's defense of the Christian faith at the fall of the Roman Empire against pagan philosophers and other thinkers who were saying Christianity caused the fall of the Roman Empire. But St. Augustine was able to show, firstly, Christianity did not cause the fall of the Roman Empire. It actually prolonged its existence. Second, Christianity is not intertwinable with secular and political authority. They're two different things. That's why it's called the City of God. There's the City of God, which is Christianity, and then the City of Man, which are political and secular authorities. That's kind of the start, somewhat, some degree, of the separation of church and state. Obviously not totally, but if you look at how it's been prolonged. And then thirdly, in the sense, essentially the separation between the worldly kingdom and the earthly kingdom. And in between that, St. Augustine touches on everything. He touches on a theory of time, eternity, history of the world, history of the Bible. And all of this St. Augustine touches in absolute, clear detail. My favorite part of the book is his discussion of time, the metaphysics of time. His solution to the problem of evil is also very interesting, but apparently is just essentially not a copy, but a exposition on Gorgias by Plato. So that is why I want to read Gorgias by Plato. So yeah, St. Augustine is a crucial thinker. Last year, my favorite book was The Confessions of St. Augustine, which really got me back into reading. So yeah, those would be my favorite books that I've read this year. Thank you for watching this video. Like, subscribe, yes.